there's a huge allegation against the Minnesota government where a lot of the MAGA Trump people are saying that there is fraud going on with these like daycares. All these daycares have no real kids going on, they're just getting paid. And there's this sort of Somalian twist to it where the Somali population in Minnesota is like running this like scam to get money from the government. It's unfortunate because this story seems to have some truth, right? I mean, we're still looking through all of this, right? We're still getting charges filed and being investigative. And if it is true, that sucks. Like this shouldn't be a thing where people are obviously frauding, Somali or not. And the what I've been gathering is a lot of these things seem to be happening across the nation. It isn't just Somali people. It isn't just the constant vilification of black people, because that's what it seems like. It's always like this. Like it seems like with the whole cats and dogs thing where it was like the cat, they're eating the cat's dogs, and then when they were confronted the story just disappeared because it wasn't really true. I'm getting a lot of that kind of vibe here. So that's where I felt the story is unfortunate, because I felt like we had a lot of good discourse going on with the Epstein stuff. People should be talking about the Epstein stuff. Yet this feels like this story is their way to sweep it under the rug. And it sucks because I think we should talk about stuff like this. I think we should address if there's any sort of fraud. But it seems like the stuff that they are discussing, or the way they're trying to paint it, is like, look at all this stuff that Trump is finding, when this has been getting an ongoing battle. It looks like there was some fraud found during the Biden administration, so this isn't new, and it doesn't seem to even be exclusively to Minnesota. The Minnesota stuff is just, I think, catching the headlines because I think they were in the past they were caught, but there's also this Somali twist to it, like I said, where there's a Somali population that has been getting a lot of criticism from the this administration. Again, it reminds me of the cats and dogs stuff. They keep blaming Tim Walz, who's also like a really easy Dem target. Like he's the dude who was running in the last election. He's the sort of face of the Democratic Party, and he's someone that they've called Tampon Tim, like, so he's an easy target. And I feel like that's why this is such a salacious story, is like, again, if there's stuff to investigate, if Tim Walz is really giving little boys tampons, that's a little weird, like on surface level. Like if you're just a regular dude who doesn't know anything, they're like, well, that's weird. You know what I mean? We're giving Somalis all this money. Like this is stuff where I wholeheartedly feel, yes, like we should look into, but not at the cost of like, let's ignore Epstein stuff, because all this is going on. I don't see anything about the Epstein stuff from any right wing pundits. People like Lives of TikTok, who made it their main focus to talk about people and pedos and stuff, have ignored it outright completely and just been talking about these kind of stories, or just like completely shifting focus. When the whole Epstein redacted story came out, you just saw constant Fox News coverage of like, look at this lizard doing a backflip. It's like, okay, so you guys don't give a shit. And I don't truly think they give a fuck about the fraud, because for one, their approach is shit. They have videos like this of people going to these Somali daycares, and they're the Somali people or whoever is running these daycares are like, you just can't come in here. Very reasonable response. Like even if this is staged, this is pretty reasonable. Like you can't just show up to a school. Like there might be a front office for many schools, but there's usually a time and place for it. You usually have to call ahead. I don't have kids, but growing up with a big family, I've seen a lot of the process, and it's a lot of, you call ahead. Maybe it was different, it's changed, but I remember it being, you call ahead, you set an appointment, you show up. You don't just show up unless a kid is already there. That's when you show up. But as a new parent, you have to see if they're even accepting. And so this lady, it sounds like she doesn't speak English that well, but she may have been a little bit confused the way they're talking about it, and she's sort of like playing this like, I don't know what you're talking. Like it's because it's weird. You came with a camera, no kid. That's weird. But people are like, aha, we found it. Like this is the smoke. This is your smoking gun. A fucking weirdo with camera. There was another group of, I think it's actually the same guy, but it is the same guy. There was another guy where he went to another facility, another place, and they very similar. They have a camera and they're pointing it at these people, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Like it's weird. And not to say, and again, not to disregard, just your approach sucked. Like you got to call ahead. You got to figure out, like, your investigative journalism shouldn't just be this. You know, like you have to be looking into it. And what sucks is because people will see stuff like that dude and be like, "Oh, that's he looks sketchy because he's a black dude." You know, like obviously he looks like a dude that the Fox News people would put on the like you could easily put him on the front page of the newspaper, and that's scary. So one, their approach sucks, and two, I don't think they give a shit about the fraud. I really don't think they do. Like I'm glad that there's an investigation going on at the state level, and as it should, and if a federal investigation needs to happen, great. But that leads me to the second reason is that you have all branches of government. You have the DOJ at your hand. You have things like Doge who've claimed to found all of this fraud, and nothing has come from it. What charges have been filed? What recommendations did Elon? He didn't name names. He didn't say like you gotta charge files for this. No, nothing came out of it. None of these people really took the fraud seriously, or they found nothing. But no one got in trouble because of the Doge cuts. They say they found all this fraud. Then who's getting in trouble? You guys have all the power at your will. You could get people in trouble. That's what people. You should make examples of it. But they don't give a shit. You're telling me Trump is canceling like the Consumer Protection Bureau, which usually stops fraud for consumers. He's pardoning people who are convicted of fraud, and you're telling me he gives a shit. I just don't believe it. If this was any other administration, and even conservative, I would say like, yeah, I think there's merit. This is like a side I think we all can agree with. Like we shouldn't allow this fraud to any level. But from this administration, from this past, from how their approach is, it seems racially motivated. It doesn't seem like it has a lot of merit, a lot of weight. Like I just don't think everything I've listed shows me with confidence that I should give a shit about this story. I hope investigations come out, and I hope do the justice that is due is given, right? But it seems like it's just there's fraud at a lot of levels. The system that is at place, it seems to be working where we are catching it. We were even catching it with the Biden administration, and it seems like people are looking into this and it is being discussed. Great, that's all they need. Like when people like, I hate it, it reminds me of when someone like kills someone and they're like justice for so and so, and it's like, well, that person is, it's sad, but that person who got killed, their justice is being served because that guy is in jail right now and they're investigating. Like that's the justice not being served would be if he didn't go to any sort of, like there was no repercussions. That's when you say justice for so and so. But it reminds me of that where like people are looking into it, it's becoming a big story, but then you have these people trying to milk it as much as possible where they feel the need to say like, no, yeah, we're like, we found this. Look at this smoking gun. Like if you want to add to the pile of uh evidence, sure, you can add, but that's not your smoking gun. That's not the end of the conversation. And there's stuff being looked into. And it just seems like all the stars are aligning. It's Somali, it's a Democrat governor. Like you have uh, all this stuff going on elsewhere, and their approach sucks. And the story is so salacious that again, I take a step back and go like, why are we not talking about Epstein? Any other case, I'd be like, well, we can walk and chew gum, right? We can talk about other stories. In this case, I think it's a clear we're trying to avoid the situation because fuck you. And this is their way. This is their neck. This is their new cats and dogs story. So we don't talk about the Epstein stuff.